In the early 1990s, homelessness was becoming an issue. The number of joblessness was growing. More and more people began drinking, take drugs, and deal with mental health problems. So in the 1990s, homelessness was a central problem. As we see at this graph, homelessness from the late 1990s has decreased over the years. Homelessness is still today something we are dealing with, but in a much lesser extent. Phil Collins made a song called "Another Day in Paradise". This song deals with the problem of homelessness in the late 1980s. Phil Collins tries to send a message to people about the hard situation people face. And Collins wants people to think twice, as we say, and help homelessness instead of ignoring and reject them. In the lyrics, there is two characters, a homeless woman and a normal man, as we would call it, who walks by the woman without noticing her misery. And you can tell she's homeless by the first four lines, and here it comes.
She calls out to the man on the street. Sir, can you help me? It's cold and I'm nowhere to sleep. There's somewhere you can tell me.
The stanza's connotation leads us to the conclusion that the woman must be homeless. She doesn't have a place to sleep, and the connotations to that is that she must be homeless. Because if you don't have a place to sleep, that would mean that you don't have a home. And if you don't have a home, you have to be homeless. So it all leads us to the conclusion that she must be homeless, also because of the background to the song. In the second stanza, we are introduced to the man that represents most people in today's world. We often face awkward situations with the homeless people. And he does what most people would do. He walks on, doesn't look back, and pretend that he can't hear her. You see, he pretends that he doesn't hear her, and this is what most people would do. Most people don't want to involve in things like that because they are a little spooky. So people don't want to do anything wrong, so they end up doing nothing at all. And that's why that Phil Collins wants to send a message out to all people who live um, that we will call a normal life. Um, the message it sends out is that we should all be thankful for what we have. We should all be thankful to live under a roof, have access to water, have clothes and a job, and maybe a great childhood behind us. And as he says in this stanza,
You can tell from the lines on her face. You can see that she's been there. Probably been moved on from every place. 'Cause she didn't fit in there.
in this stanza, he also makes a statement. He points out that some people doesn't have a great childhood and maybe doesn't have a childhood at all. Some has been abandoned from the very beginning of their lives. So what Phil Collins wants us to do is to think twice. Exactly because there are so many people who takes these things for granted, when so many people don't have these things and wishes for them more than anything. Just a place to call home or a real meal would mean the world to them. We live this paradise life, as he called it, where we only want the best for ourselves. And if we can't have that, we are getting annoyed or angry. But why? Can we see above this? Over 1 million people around the world would want these things we are taking for granted and be pleased to the very end of their lives.
In the music video, the form of appeal Phil Collins uses is pathos. This he uses through all the very emotional photos he shows of homeless people in pain. The music video also brings in facts about the amount of people who is homeless all over the world. For instance, this one, and there's another one here. This makes what Phil Collins uses more trustworthy and makes the viewers feel compassion with the homeless, just like the photos did. Towards the end of the video, there also is shown a sign, should be around here. This sign is incredibly merciless towards homeless people, and it makes the viewers feel even more compassionate towards the homeless people.